Let me begin with this.
Today on Eric Scott Talks a Lot, I have Peter Argeris from the emergency room, an RN who fought the COVID battle right here. Eric Scott Talks a Lot, brought to you by Random and Reckless Entertainment, Brainstar Media. Use your brain, be a brain star. I want to give a shout out right away to Daphne, who today completed her cancer treatment at the hospital, and we're looking at her being cancer-free. Woohoo, Daphne, right on. In the studio, I have Peter Argeris, an RN who went through the whole thing right there in the emergency room. How are you, brother?
I'm good.
Good. Tell me a bit about your story. Tell me about you first.
Been an RN at St. Pete's for 13 years in the ER. Mm-hmm. Did a little child psych and med surg before that.
Gotcha.
Like father of 6. I have 6 kids at home.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, just
How many girls?
3 and 3.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Girls were challenging for me.
Yes.
I see it in your eyes.
I have 3 teenage girls right now.
Do
so,
you? Oh,
yeah.
do you really?
Yeah.
I just have one, and she's almost 21. She's coming up on 21. Well, no, she's gonna see this now and see. It was like 6 months from when I was 21. See, they always got something to correct you on, right?
Yes.
They know everything. But how awesome? Married?
Oh yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Good for you. Good for you. So good, better you than me. All right. So tell me about when you first heard, you're working there 13 years, you're hunkered down, everything's fine, you got your routine going. And I mean, you've probably been hit by the H1N1 and all that stuff, but this had to be different, right?
Oh, yeah.
So give me some background.
Well, we're kind of watching things in the news, watching it develop. It's Kirkland was a big, like that was, we were all kind of watching what was going on there and just waiting for it to happen, because you're not going to contain something like that quickly. So we're kind of watching for it, and then they shut the state down. And when they shut the state down, they kind of stopped everything at the hospital, mostly because of like our gear. We didn't have enough masks to go around, and so they were just shut everything down so we can kind of build up our storage of N95 masks and surgical masks. And so for that first couple of months or month or so, it was like the calm before the storm. It was just like waiting for.
How crazy?
Yeah, it was creepy, kind of, just quiet. Yeah.
You're just waiting for it to hit.
Yeah.
And then kind of like all of us, I don't know about you, but we tend to be in this thing of fear, and then it just goes away.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did you feel like it? I mean, we had no idea it was going to happen like this, right? But did you, being on the inside, now kind of get this was different? This feels different.
Yeah, but my wife says I'm a little sick though, because I got a little excited because this is being an ER nurse. It's like I want to do the crazy stuff. Like I want to be involved at the if something like if there's a hurricane, I want to go help out.
Okay, so you'd be signing up for the war, kind of.
It's just the exciting part of it,
right?
And you're working ER, and it's what we do. But what was the question again?
The question is just like, did you know that this was different?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, like you said, H1N1. I got H1N1. I remember H1N1. It was kind of it hit certain communities pretty hard. It hit the Native American community pretty hard. Like, I remember all that. I got sick from it for like 3 days, but you weren't seeing the same kind of like overall like lung disease. Like a few, like with H1N1, it was pregnant people, natives,
right,
and they were getting real sick.
Right.
And then with this, it's like doesn't care who you are.
It doesn't care who you are. So there wasn't a section. So you knew this was different.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me when this starts to ramp up and get scary, and when you start to how are you dealing with it? Tell me how it happened.
The day before we shut down, I had I was charged, and the ER kind of it's a little wild. We had 40 admits waiting in the ER to go upstairs, so we're always running at max capacity.
Okay.
And so I have 40 admits. I have the 3 first COVID cases come through the ER that day, and I just called management like, hey, we can't. This is not like where are we supposed to put these people who we need to kind of close off from everybody. But I have people in all the hallways. It's just, it's a busy ER.
Right.
So that's like they kind of took that information and the masks and kind of shut everything down. And then the other thing is the community. I think when things like this first happen, the community kind of like comes together a little bit. So there's like a little bit of a people just weren't coming to the ER much. Like they were kind of backing off and giving us like, you know, not coming in for a lot of stuff. Even the crisis patients, like the psychiatric stuff, that first kind of backed off. Like everyone was kind of waiting to see what was happening, and kind of like there's like almost like you could feel the community at first.
Right.
Like I got out and I was driving home, and someone's car ran out of gas, and I jumped out to help them push, and I had my scrubs on, and people are clapping for me.
Wow.
It was like the weirdest thing is like I've never.
And this is before.
This is right when it's starting. To
right
kinda
when it's
take
starting
off,
to kind of take off.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me, keep going. Tell me how then it what was
there's
your
these things-
experience as
so-
the months we're getting into March,
Yeah.
April, May? What?
We were very fortunate here where like we were able to keep up with it for the most part. There was a few times where we were kind of out of beds. The problem here is that because we capitalize on our medicine, all the beds have to be full all the time. So you're like, it's just like you can't build extra hospitals and just have them sit there in case something happens.
Right, because it's
Like,
money.
Yeah, it's all money. So
Uh-huh.
my question is, if I get 30 extra patients because of COVID, where am I putting them from always at capacity as it is? So
Right.
it's a little more like when people look at the numbers, they think, oh, it's just 30 or 40 people. Well, I don't have those 30 or 40 beds. We don't have 30 or 40 beds for these people on top of what's already going on in the community. The normal, because we have an average number that comes to the ER every day. We have an average number of admits. We know how many people we're going to see.
It's down to a science.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and these companies, the
and we keep it max capacity
right.
all the time.
Wow.
So this is what
you
scares.
don't want extra beds.
Yeah, because then they cost money.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
this is something we didn't really hear about.
No, and that's why like a lot of like sometimes I wish they would talk more about that so people understood like what we're facing here is like it only takes 30 or 40 people to kind of throw things off for us. Like if that, like I mean, 20 extra patients in a day makes things a lot busier, especially if there are 20 admissions,
Yeah.
And the ventilator thing, there's a couple times we got tight on ventilators, like we're kind of looking in every corner for an extra ventilator. Like
Okay, so for the idiot, me.
Oh, sorry.
So what we're saying is we're full throttle
Yes.
always because business-wise, money-wise,
Yeah.
and I would leap to say insurance-wise and all
Yeah.
these big
We gotta pay the
giant
bills,
companies,
yep.
they have to be running efficiently at maximum capacity because if they slow off, they're losing money.
Yep.
Slowing off gives you a buffer in case something happens.
Yeah.
But we're just not equipped to do that in a capitalistic, society.
For medicine, I'm not
For
like,
medicine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For medicine. Yeah.
For medicine.
I think that's why most places have kind of backed away from that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you say most places, you think other countries.
Most of the
And
most
they,
of the world.
They've backed away from that. They
It's
leave
all
that.
social medicine now. Like
Right.
it's all kind of wrapped
Right.
into your government.
So without getting too political.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't,
Yeah,
yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But I don't want to lean you. I'll lean
Yeah.
where the fuck I want. But what I don't want to lean you. So that's just really interesting because you never hear about that. You just assume that the hospital's sitting there with empty beds.
No.
That's what you assume, and you even assume that when you're fucking sitting in the emergency room, right? You're like, fuck, I know all those beds are open back there. Why are they having me sitting here? I swear to God, when I walked back there, there were 5 of them open. And they really just aren't. And come to think about it, they aren't when they wheel you back there.
No.
They're all put, people are put on the side. And so what do you do about that? Just to me right there is a whole different podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just incredible.
Yeah.
What do you do? What do you do quarantine wise? How do you deal with that? How does the quarantine process work?
At the hospital?
So people start coming in sick, you got to quarantine them. I've always wondered where do you put these people?
We have a section devoted to like respiratory patients. We don't know if they're COVID or not.
Right.
I mean, you can't just make that. I can take a call and I'll know pretty quickly if that's a COVID patient or not. Like,
right.
But any kind of respiratory distress, any kind of respiratory problems are going to put in the COVID section.
Right. But in the beginning, you don't know that.
In the beginning, it was really hard because we didn't have a test.
Right.
So it was like.
So you're waiting on testing.
Yeah. So what we were doing pretty much was like it was.
You have all these extra people, no testing. Keep going. Keep going.
And they're using diagnostics like multiple tests to kind of figure out, like, if you have this, this, and this, you're probably COVID.
Right.
So if you have like a certain kind of chest X-ray, I can't remember what they all are now because we've not really been looking at it anymore since we have the test. But there was like a series of things we looked for. If you had those markers, like if you were sick in these ways, you're probably COVID, and we put you in the COVID unit.
Probably COVID.
Probably COVID.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have a test.
What do you do?
There's no. Yeah,
what do you do?
Yeah.
Okay, so then when do you start getting testing that you can count on? What time did you think that happened?
Was that? I want to say right around the summertime.
Okay.
I can't remember. Like
So kind of flying blind till the testing comes in.
Yeah, we're kind of figuring it. Like, yeah.
And you're stressed PPE wise?
Yeah, yeah. And then it was what. So I'll give you an example. So my sister-in-law, or my cousin's wife, back in New York, she's a nurse practitioner.
Okay.
And so we were sharing stuff. Like there was it was called a one pager. A doc up in Seattle took care of the patients in Kirkland. He made this one pager, and it's like had all these like lab results and I was faxing those to her so she can use them for her patients. And we're trying to figure it out on the fly, like sharing information.
So before test,
yeah,
you have an inner network of doctors and nurses that are compiling information and sharing it.
Yeah, there's Facebook pages to
this
it.
Is not this isn't a top-down thing.
No,
you guys are kind of like, well, we got to fix this weird engine, and we're trying to have to do it together. Nothing's coming from the top down.
Yeah, they didn't. They knew as much as us. So
yeah, so they had to have kind of wanted some of that data themselves, probably, and
I think it got around.
Right.
Yeah. They saw the one pager sitting around the counters in the ER. Like, what are these?
So you called them one pagers, and they were just.
It's just a one page, and this doc just put all like his the lab results that he was seeing with the COVID patients in Kirkland.
Wow.
So he I think it was intensivist, and like he had even a picture of a chest X-ray, what it looked like, kind of explanation. It was just all on one page, and he would update it every once in a while. So you always kind of look for the updates and then print that one out and make copies.
God, what was his name?
I can't remember his
Shout
name.
out.
Yeah. No.
Shout out to him.
It was good work.
I mean, what good work, right?
Yeah,
so then you're moving through. That's your basically kind of like your Bible, this one sheet.
Yeah.
And that's what you're using to before
Diagnose,
testing.
yeah,
Before testing.
Yeah.
And then once you get the testing, does it become easier?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the first tests were like 12 hours. So that was kind of a nightmare. Because you're sitting on a patient for 12 hours. When were we going to put them? Are you going to go to COVID unit?
So everybody else has got to sit out.
Yeah. So that made it a little difficult. But then they quickly came up with like 4-hour tests. And now the new one, I think, is about an hour. Now. Yeah.
I don't know if we'll have time today, but I've often wondered, like, what were you doing for people who didn't have COVID? You know,
different section,
right?
Yeah.
But you know, that don't come, or you know, now you're dealing with that. You know.
Yeah, there was a little early on. We had so a few weeks we got real slow,
right?
And then all of a sudden we got all these sick people who weren't coming in, who should have came in, like CHF, congestive heart failure patients, COPD patients. We're kind of waiting until it was like they're really sick. They shouldn't have waited that long.
Right.
They could have just got tuned up and sent home. So then they get admitted, and it's just it all figured itself out over time. It was.
And you're fighting for ventilators.
Yeah.
You're fighting for that stuff. Can you tell me any? You know, we got to protect the people, you know, that were in there, of course. But can you tell me any stories that kind of touched you that you watched come in, or that touched your heart? Any stories? In regards
I think just seeing people my age who were in my health being that sick was a little worrisome. Like,
right.
Yeah, you know, a guy around my age who died in the ER, you know, because he waited too long. He had COVID, and he was very sick when he got there, and that kind of stuff. Like, I can see myself doing that. You know, I'm not going in. You know?
We're all so tough, right?
Well, it's not. It's just like
it's a cold.
Yeah, it feels like the flu.
Yeah.
You don't realize that your oxygen saturated, like your oxygen levels are that low, and it's just
We did an interview with a gentleman who was one of the first people to have it, just a bit ago, and he told me that he didn't go to the doctor till he started feeling better.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I don't even, and once he said it, wow, did I just say that? You know, I think he realized, but.
There was a couple that came, an elderly couple, and I got to be careful how much
You have to, HIPAA, I get it. I get it. That's what we're
So anyways, we're full.
Mm-hmm.
The COVID section's full.
Mm-hmm.
So I went out to the car. I put my gear out, went out to their car, and kind of triaged them out there.
Mm-hmm.
Talked to the doc, and then the wife came in, and we saw her, and then discharged both of them. Mm-hmm. He wasn't that sick, so we kind of just discharged him from out. I don't remember if he even checked him. Anyways, we told them, you guys are gonna get worse. Like there's no, this is what you can do. Try to get, to try to keep yourself healthy. But as it progresses, as it gets worse, come back and we'll get you, admitted to the hospital. They weren't sick enough for admission,
Right.
but we knew where it was going.
Right.
So it's like you can't just admit them because it's going to get bad. But
Right.
yeah, I don't think either one of them is with us anymore now. So it's kind of, yeah, that kind of stuff is rough because you know where this is going to go, but you can't.
But what do you do?
There's nothing you can do.
It could turn,
Yeah.
and you can't do anything.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
See, these are the decisions
Yeah.
and the things that this is why we have this podcast, bro. Because, our whole thing is to understand each other and to destroy this. The reason we started this is to destroy this divisiveness. You know what I mean? And to hear your stories, you've already mentioned 3 or 4 things that just aren't really out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how old are you, may I ask? Don't ask me my age, by the way.
I'm 46.
Okay. And so
After 40, I really think about it. I always forget.
Yeah, exactly. So you're seeing these people your age come in, and tell me how you felt. How did the self-preservationist survive in you? Did you just trust the science of
I trust the science, and I don't get crazy about things. Some people are kind of like get a little wild with but I know how disease transmits. I know that I don't have to wear gloves at a store. I know if I just use a little bit of hand sanitizer, I'll be good. There's a few people that are pretty freaked out at work.
Yeah.
They're pretty especially because they know someone in another hospital where they're getting just hammered at. It's kind of scary.
When they're friends, like let's say they used to work with them and they're just getting hit super hard.
Yeah, and one of our docs, this guy's like the real deal hero. He went to New York to Belly of the Beast and spent weeks over there. And he was telling us he was intubating people in the hallways because there's nowhere to and just that kind of stuff. We're very fortunate here, very fortunate. I think the way our population spread kind of helped because places where people are stacked on top of each other really spread fast.
I lived in Philly for a while, and you're literally stacked on top of each other. Yeah. You can hand each other the toilet paper.
Yep.
So, just to veer a little bit, what do you feel Washington did? Do you think we did a good job?
Yeah, I think with knowing what we knew, we did a pretty good job.
Because we got hit first.
Yeah, and there was some overstepping, but I think you have to be careful. I think closing down fishing in parks kind of
right
a little much, but
yeah, because you're out in it.
Yeah, you're outside. You need to be you need to be outside. But I think overall we've done a pretty good job, and a lot of people don't feel that way.
Yeah,
where I work, I feel like we did a really good job because I didn't get buried in it. So
that's what I wanted to get is your view on that. You didn't really. I look back at it and I go, it started here, it was growing here, it was scary here.
We shut it down.
And we shut it down.
Yeah.
So that's the proof in the pudding to me.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people don't like our administration. I don't want to get into that. I just want to get into that, because it shifted over to New York pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And God bless all the people, that were there and went through what they went through. But in regards to Washington, I wanted to hear your experience, not getting just completely swamped that way.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely, the small businesses, I feel terrible for them. The kids going to school. I feel like kids are resilient. And they need a little challenge every once in a while. So this will probably do them some good in the long run. They probably don't feel that way right now, but
right.
Yeah.
I'm going to date myself, but I remember St. Helens, and I remember my grandma saying, "You'll remember this, a little kid. Remember this the rest of your life." And I've been saying that to my 7-year-old. He was 6 when it, all went down, and I'm like, "You're going to remember this."
Yeah.
Forever.
Yep.
And he just thinks he's gonna have to wear a mask forever. This is the way life goes, and he got pretty paranoid.
Yeah, a lot of people did.
They got kids. I don't know what your scare was, but mine was nuclear war.
I remember that.
Really
well.
scared. Do you remember that film? Did you remember The Day After? It was a mini series.
I think so.
Yeah, it was a mini series and scared the living shit out of me.
No, I remember I was in California in school, and doing drills, like getting under your desk
Yeah.
for a nuclear strike, and it's like, this isn't gonna do any good.
Totally sizzled. And then you went, and then later when we got older, Terminator came out, and I was
Yeah.
like, that's what I had in my brain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I remember my, everything was just, it could happen any day. And I remember that series came out, and it was a big deal. And I was raised by my grandmother, my cantankerous grandmother. She said, oh, you won't know what hit you. Don't worry about it. I'm just like, oh God. So what about your colleagues? Like I was mentioning to you, I met you through Angel. Shout out to Angel.
Yes.
She used to, her and from Marquetta used to pound on me on the beat on me, and because I was a little bastard, always picking on people. So they used to put me in my place in the recess.
She's still good at that.
Is
Put
she?
people in their place? Yeah.
Is she? Yeah. So I'd called my just was talking to my ex-wife about getting a hold of our agent who gets a hold of people and saying, hey, because we had somebody cancel. We need somebody. And she was, call Angel, she knows Angel. So I called Angel. And so I wanted to give a shout out to Angel, but that's a good way to segue into your family. So how did your family, before we move on to how this just kept going, how did your family deal with it? And how did you guys, I'm going to do a two-parter. Tell me a little bit about, let's go through family, and then we're going to, I want to talk a bit about how it was politicized.
Yeah.
But I also want you to leave, give me your family's experience on that too. Yeah.
Again, very fortunate. Like I said, I was very fortunate to be able to work through this. And then I was very fortunate that my wife worked at the hospital for a little while too. Her last day was a Friday, and she got a job with the school district as a paraeducator. Her first day of work was shut down. So she got to stay home with the kids.
Oh, okay.
So she was home with our kids the whole time. It was just a giant,
that's huge.
Yeah. It was very huge. And then so the kids, so my kids, I have 6 kids, and I told them all I'm not paying for college because I can't pay for 6 kids college. So I am putting them through private school. So the transition was a little easier for them. The private school had things ready to go that week.
I always tell my kids, I have money, you don't have money. They say, we have money. I said, no, I got money, you don't have money.
Exactly.
So you pay for their private school?
So I put them through private school to try to prepare them for college. I can't pay for 6 kids to go to college. That's millions of dollars.
No.
I'm getting them ready.
Getting them prepared.
Yeah.
And so that was an easier transition school-wise.
Yeah, it was way easier because the classes are small.
Yeah.
The kids already had computers. They just kind of transitioned right into the home.
There's less bureaucracy because it's private.
Yep.
There's an administration that makes quick decisions.
Yeah. And a lot of the principals reach out to me and ask me my opinion on some things. And
I bet.
Yeah.
So were you kind of for a while a person to go to in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, with people I know. Yeah, I get calls every now and then. But I'm always, that's being an ER nurse. You get those calls all the time from your friends.
Can you look at this?
You get pictures of people's mangled hands. And what do you think?
Like that Paul Rudd in that movie when he's like, "Can you look at this?"
Yeah.
To his wife. Yeah. She's like, "Can we have any discretion?" You know what I mean?
Yes.
So wife is home with kids, and you're just sent out into the zone to ferret.
Yeah.
So how did you deal with you obviously know people are dying. You're going through this. I'm not even going to entertain that. How did you deal with, for example, I had a break took a break because everything was shut down, and I'd met this girl and was kind of staying with her during the COVID thing. Very unlike me. I'd done this exclusive thing for a little bit. Idiot. Anyways, so I was taking this walk and every day, and I'd go to the Starbucks, and very early on, there was a gentleman in there that was a military guy, and he was just going off on everybody in the Starbucks because he wasn't going to wear a mask. And then I said, hey, because he said, well, they're infringing on my rights. And I said, well, actually, it's a business. And if you're going to stand up for rights, they have those rights. And he didn't like that. So then he wanted to come at me, and then he waited for me outside, and we had to actually it was a big thing, and I was just trying to chill out. And that was my first, wow, this is serious. This is different than any time in history where, wow, we're sick. we're going to go for it. Now we have people that are going to make this a political issue, and it got obviously way out of hand.
Yeah.
So, what were you feeling on the inside? Dig down. Give us the inside scoop.
Yeah. I don't get too like it.
You don't need to talk about it. You just went.
So people, we're not letting any visitors in.
Mm-hmm.
So people come to the hospital, and their families will lose their mind.
They'd want.
Yeah, and I get it. Sometimes there's cases where like I want you to be there for your family, but there's some of them are like, you know,
right.
My wife sprained her ankle. Why the hell can't I be with her? Like, because your wife sprained her ankle, and she's gonna be fine. But
right,
people just like, you know, they would lose their mind out. We had to put security out the front doors. They had to hire security, like for all the doors at the hospital to keep people out.
So you're telling me that there were more incidents, sounds like America in a lot of ways, but there's probably a lot more incidents about people who'd scraped their finger and were mad they couldn't be with their wife than people that were really having to be apart from there.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking when someone, they had rules, of course, if someone's dying, we'd get their family back to them.
Right.
But otherwise, it was pretty much not happening. Like no one's coming back because just, it's all science. So the more people you have in there, the more chances you have of moving a disease around. So we just kind of keep those numbers down, and people just don't want to hear that they can't be back there. And the whole infringing on our rights, like there was people, my dad fought in World War II, just going off about.
Right.
And it's, it was very sad. And like I said in the beginning, it wasn't that politicized. In the very beginning, it felt like everyone kind of came together as a community, and it went wild.
Like remember 9/11?
Yeah.
We were just like, boom, we were all
had
together.
American flags and
for years.
Yeah.
They were, you'd have a pink and light blue flag that's like barely hanging on.
Yep. Yeah, there was and that's what it felt like at the very beginning. But the media and it just spun out of control. It just went wild. And the no mask, like if I go to the store with no shoes on, they can say, "Don't come in my store."
Right.
And that's their right. It's the same thing with a shirt or a mask. Like they can say that. Like I don't understand.
Randy, have you ever heard that point? No shirt, no shoes, no dice.
Yeah.
But I have never heard it put that poignant.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
It's just a reason for people to bicker and let everybody know what their political stance is. And that's what it's really about, is this is where I stand politically. And it just, like I went to Costco and I seen one mask that said Trump 2020. Another mask that said Biden 2020, and I just wanted to swap their masks. Like, you guys, that this has nothing to do with like who you think the president should be. Like, this is like, can we just do this one thing without bringing that into it? It was just, yeah. And either party, like everyone politicized it. It was wild.
Everybody. We all politicized
Everybody did. It was just
that gentleman was calling me a sheep, though.
Yeah,
that's when the first time I know the sheep term, but that was the first time that it was there in front of me, and I was going, "Whoa!"
Yeah, and I'm the first to put on a conspiracy cap too.
You like your conspiracies?
Oh,
all right,
yeah.
I like that.
Like I was knee deep. I was thinking about not getting the vaccine right away. But then I'm looking at these guys my age. I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Right, yeah. You want to hear a trippy one? I just heard one. Check this out, Randy. When you die, the reason you see the light is because you're going into the room that you're being born into.
Oh.
All right, that one's for you. Okay. So what happens did you become like the catalyst to this argument, being a nurse? Did you find yourself, well, we weren't at parties, right?
Yeah.
Because but did you find yourself just your vocation, if you brought it up, or let's say friends would talk differently around you or act differently around you? Did you experience that?
I mean, I tried not to get into it with people.
Right. Well, it's not in your, there's no reason why. Yeah.
I'm not going to change anyone's mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if someone asked me something, I just spit facts. Like, because I had, a friend of mine, again, I got to be careful.
I got
you. So someone came to the hospital is related to a friend of mine.
Okay.
And they're very much into one political party.
Right, into one political party.
And so when I went out to say hi to them, I went outside, said on my lunch break, said hi to them, kind of like, I care about them. I care, like, I don't care about your
Right.
But then when they like ask me things, I just try to give them the facts. Like,
right.
This is going on. Like, this is what we're seeing. Just try to like educate people a little bit. Like, this isn't a political thing. This is no one's like I did get in a couple arguments on on the social media.
Yeah.
'Cause the death book thing kills me. The whole
Right.
I fill those out. Like when someone dies, I fill out and I call it the coroner and all that. Like I know what's going on there. No one's making up fake deaths
Right.
and to get money from the government. It's just not happening.
Yeah. The death book was.
Yeah, the whole it's a death certificate it's to try to
Yeah.
like calling everything COVID. No, it's that. I literally fill that. Like I make those phone calls when someone dies in the ER.
So you, as a nurse,
Mhm.
I'm gonna push you.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna say that these people that are basically balls out saying
Mm-hmm.
these people had these pre-existing problems and
Mm-hmm.
they died, and it was simpler or better for everybody, money wise or whatever their reason is, to put it down as COVID. You call bullshit right now.
Yes, very much so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There you have it,
Yes.
motherfuckers. Bullshit from
Yes.
the dude
Yes,
right
very
there.
much bullshit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so you're trying to stay out of it politically, but you're noticing it. How about in the workspace? Now, I know you got to work with these people, okay? But in the workspace, was it a uniform or be
No,
confronted with it?
obviously people have their different leanings. There's a few,
Right.
you know, and it just, I just don't get into it.
Just keep your head down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not the keep my head kind of down kind of guy, I guess.
Right.
So like I'll just.
But I meant keep working.
Yeah,
keep
yeah. No,
going.
but like, I would, if someone said something, I would just counter it in a way that wasn't oppositional.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know. It's not really what I'm seeing.
Yeah. So you're showing some humility.
Yeah.
You're showing some love.
Yeah.
And that's how you're trying to communicate.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, very much.
That's what we're trying to do here.
Yes.
Is get back to that, and
Yeah.
that I love social media. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's enabling us to do what we're doing right now and giving everybody a voice. But I think that there was a responsibility to the power holders when they had the limit, when Walter Cronkite was Walter Cronkite,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Now we've all need to assume that responsibility
Right.
of what we say and what we do can blow up tomorrow, and boom, before you know it, you're influencing a bunch of people.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's what kind of we're doing with this podcast is driving straight to the source. You know what I mean?
I like it.
Good. So I want to talk about the positive a little bit. I don't want to get in. Let's get away from the morbid of it. What I like to say this, my spirituality is, everybody has their own. My spirituality kind of has this guide of our tribulations. We exalt our tribulations, right? And by exalting our tribulations, our troubles, at the end of them, we get a present. We get these presents, right?
Yeah.
Because you can only grow through struggle, right? And this has been one big motherfucking struggle, right? So what do you think has been some of the positives from a nurse's stance? Like for you personally, for the job, for your patients, for the whole, give me some examples of what you think is better now because of COVID.
I think a lot of it's yet to be seen, but anytime, with the kids, I think that resilience, like you have to kind of put in a situation that was uncomfortable for you, makes you better in the end. So I think all these kids are going to be a little better in the end because of this. There was a time when you didn't have YouTube to watch and Netflix to watch, and if something like this happened, you'd be bored out of your mind sitting at home doing nothing. So it's.
I've been stuck with my fucking brother.
Yeah.
Oh, my brother.
So many fist fights.
Yeah, it would have been,
So it's just, the kids are going to do, I think they're going to do great. And I've tried to, when people talk about the schools need to be open, yeah, they need to be open, but it's not hurting these kids to figure this out. It's not,
right.
Long run, this is not going to kill you.
I like that perspective.
Yeah. So it's just, I think it's going to do them good in the long run. As far as in medicine, so most of our biggest contributions honestly come from the military.
Really?
From war. So you learn a lot in war.
Yeah.
So it's I think it's the same kind of deal. Like we figured out a lot.
Right.
Just as far as working together, being teammates.
We measure history by war.
Yeah.
For a reason. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And so a lot of our equipment stuff starts out as, military stuff. Like, remember when I was still in nursing school, I went to, I think I was in Washington, D.C. at a thing for my kids. And I was looking at, it was something like outside, there was all these like military people showing off their gear, kind of like, I don't know if it was a recruiting thing or what.
Right.
But I remember looking at some of the the ventilators and stuff that they had there that were so cutting edge compared to what we had. And then you just kind of start seeing that stuff trickle in later on. Like it starts there, and then they're saving the soldiers. Like, well, this will work in the regular world. And so I think the same kind of thing happens here too, where like you figure out you don't want to intubate everybody you see who's respiratory distress. Like you kind of try to work them through it, and like there's like a lot of little things like that. Like I think just taking care of people with respiratory disease, some things may have changed. I think people probably take a little more like because there's definitely a part of this that like your health, your underlying health, does contribute to how well you do with this. So if you're obese, as I am, I'm a fat dude.
I'm there with you.
Yeah, it's just
I love
barbecue.
barbecue.
Like, it's more likely to kill you than someone who's fit. So
right.
I think that that opens some people's eyes. I think people are aware of that. Like it's not just COVID that's like that. The flu is like that. Diabetes. Like there's so many disease processes from being in that at that state of health. I think people like it might open some eyes with that.
Right.
I think and just like the biggest thing was the teamwork. Like just because
you guys really came together, didn't you?
Yeah. You kind of you protect each other. So there's certain people you don't want to work in there.
Yeah.
Pregnant women,
right?
Older patients, people immunocompromised, not patients, but staff members. So we kind of like no one complained about them not going in there. Like they'll work on the other side and we'll do the COVID side. And,
right.
Yeah, and, it's just I was working the day that the train derailed.
Wow.
In Nisqually. And
let's give a little background on that real quick.
So the Amtrak derailed in Nisqually a few years back, and
so here in Nisqually, where we live, in the Seattle area, there was a giant train that literally flew off the tracks
right into the freeway.
Right into the freeway, and
during rush hour.
Yeah, and I remember my best friend in the whole world. Shout out to Tommy B. He got stuck for like 8-9 hours in it. Randy, you got stuck too, didn't you? Yeah, Randy got stuck. He's still there.
Work truck with no AC or heater.
Randy, you're still fucking there. You can't find your way home. But anyways, keep going. You were in the ER when that happened?
Yeah, and so like the way we come together in situations like that, it's kind of
because you. Oh God!
It's
why
awe-inspiring.
did I think that would be the hospital everybody went to? So let's talk about that.
Yeah. Oh well, I mean, so my buddy, like one of my best friends at work there, he was a paramedic at one time down in Florida during the hurricane. So he's been around some like crazy shit.
Some crazy shit.
Yeah,
he saw who's that dude? Sean Penn cruising by as he was working. I'm just kidding. He's down there in the Florida. Or no, that was New Orleans. Sorry, bad joke. Go ahead.
Yeah, but he was charged that day when I was really happy he was because he kind of like he got shit together quick.
Charged means he's
running the ER.
He's running the ER.
Running
okay.
The show.
Okay.
So he immediately set up like I think it was 3 or 4 surgery bays in the ER.
Okay.
And each one of those bays had a surgeon. Like they were set up for like massive trauma to come into him. Like he had this like he put it together and it was amazing to watch. Like watch all the staff from upstairs come down, pull patients out of the ER to different places. Like it's just when stuff like that happens, it's terrible for people.
Right.
But that feeling you get there is I can't explain it. Like you're on a team that's just
this is
ready
why
to
you
kick some
do
ass.
it, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
I can see it in your face. This is why you do it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sometimes it gets like that place can wear on your soul. But in those moments like that, like that's why I do it. When the shit hits the fan, being there, it's like
I worked in a job for years where I had to put people in jail. And it wore my soul down. People say and do anything to get out of going to jail. And at the same time, as I grew and become less, I started realizing that I don't even want to put these people in jail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I remember at one point we were at Fred Meyer with I was with my ex-wife. And we were walking away and she said, "Did you realize basically I thought that the girl was checking me out, that was checking me out, not checking me out. I knew she was checking me out. They all do. But she was checking the groceries out. I thought she was getting over on, like manipulating me and trying to rip me out. She wasn't doing anything like that, So you see this kind of, the world starts to, you see it a certain way.
Yeah, for sure.
And that didn't go away till years after I'd stopped. So you get that too?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like you have
can-
to remind yourself every day that this is not a sample of society that
Mm-hmm.
you're dealing with right here. This is a sample of whatever, like some society, but then like a lot of people who aren't very smart, who
Right.
do stupid shit. A lot of people who are, dealing with drug addictions and just whatever. Like there's this. It's not the everyday society that you're used to work. Like when you walk into the store, there's not the people you're dealing with.
And you're dealing with a lot of the times,
Unless
probably
it's Walmart,
right. You're dealing with people who don't like maybe realize life is so fragile a lot of the times. You know what I mean? Yeah. That has to be difficult. That has to be difficult. Well, my question to you next would be, would you do it all over if you had to do it again?
Oh yes,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you feel that? Do you feel that? Do you feel that in regards to COVID itself, what is the evolution of COVID in your mind, medicine-wise? I know that we've got the scientists out there doing all their stuff, but when we talk about things like, the new strains, the vaccines, I want to get into a little bit of that now. So. I know it's tough to give opinions, and I don't want to put you on the chopping block, especially with your profession. But can you tell us about what you think of the vaccines? Do what are you believing about the vaccines? And give me, I know where you're at on that. So give me your honest thing, without getting in trouble.
No, it's hard because I don't trust giant corporations who make money. You know what I mean? Like pharmaceutical companies they're
I get
they're
it.
terrible.
I get it. It's why we
the
drive
devil.
by homeless camps.
Yes,
They're not homeless.
absolutely.
They're addicted.
So
Please don't get on here and start razzing me about how I just said people weren't fucking homeless in those camps. Okay. Anyways, keep going.
So so there's that part, but then we have to do something. And with the news, I don't know. I really hope that the vaccine's going to work for the new strains too. I hope this doesn't turn into we got to continuously come up with new vaccines. I mean, it's
right.
If it's like the flu, they kind of figured out the flu, like one flu.
What do you feel the difference is between polio, we're getting that shot, smallpox, we're getting that fucking shot, versus this one?
Those don't change. They didn't.
Yeah.
So the influenza, there's tons of influenzas, and they're constantly mutating and.
Right.
So, those
polio's fucking polio, right?
Yeah, polio's polio. So I think, and I'm not I don't know that deep of the science.
We're just on a stupid show, so don't worry about it.
Yeah. I really hope that this vaccine works. The vaccines, there's numerous vaccines. I'm fully vaccinated now.
What'd you take? Can I ask you?
The Pfizer.
What'd you take? That's the question, right?
Which one of the pills?
Yeah,
blue?
I took Johnson & Johnson merely because they make good bubble bath, and I trusted them. That's seriously why. Yeah. But anyways, did you get sick?
No. I think the second shot I had a little bit.
That's a weed cough, by the way. It's not.
Yeah, it's good.
Cough. Okay.
I'm vaccinated.
Okay.
I got a little. I felt a little off the second day, the second shot, but nothing that I missed work for. A lot of staff who got the Moderna shot. So this is when. People.
Right.
So Pfizer was the first one we got, and I was one of the first people vaccinated because in the ER you get you get ER ICU, and then the floor, the COVID floor, they got the first shots at it, shots of the shots. The second batch that came through was Moderna. A lot of the staff. So some people got sick, and they put out this thing in the email saying if you get sick from the second shot, you get 2 days off pay.
Everybody was sick.
So I'm like, well, who's sick? Who's taking 2 days off?
It happened to my buddy too. He's like, I've been sick for a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know how many people really got sick. I know a few.
This is America, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
We will work hard to take advantage of that shit.
Yes. So,
yeah.
So that's so I got the Pfizer. I think my wife got the Pfizer recently. Yeah.
Cool. You think this is let's talk about the taper off. Is there a taper off going on in your eyes?
It feels like it.
Does it?
Yeah.
What are you feeling right now? What's it feeling like?
Honestly, the peak was probably. So we had a no, but for each holiday you could see within 2 weeks.
Oh, like when people get back together for like.
So like the first one we really saw, I think, was Mother's Day. And I remember the docs kind of watching like, oh, this should be interesting because they're like they're looking at their Facebook friends and seeing all these people getting together. And
so did you guys start to expect?
Yeah, we knew for Thanksgiving.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry. No problem. Christmas. And Thanksgiving was kind of a big one. I think it's because the first time everyone kind of like said fuck this and we're getting together. So we saw quite a spike after that. And a little spike after Christmas. And the last one we saw was Super Bowl Sunday. So it was like a few right after that.
Right.
But then since then it's kind of just tapering.
It's tapering and tapering and tapering.
Yeah.
Good. So you're feeling like we're getting to the point where we might be getting back to some normalcy?
I hope so.
Yeah?
I really hope so.
Do you think we're going to be a society that doesn't wear masks in a grocery store?
Give it a year.
Give it a year?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was watching a thing that said, what would you keep that we did during COVID? And I know this sounds fucking crazy, but I'd probably wear a mask through the winter.
Oh, yeah. The flu.
You know what I mean?
I haven't seen the flu this year.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I've heard, I was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
I was actually segueing into that motherfucker, but you cut me off.
Sorry.
But it's all right. Don't worry about it. You said I told you to get the hang of this shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, exactly. Keep going.
So the flu, like we have not, like, so when everything kind of took off and I had those 3 COVIDs, that same day there was like, I think 7 flus and everything got shut down and then the flu just disappeared.
Right.
So everyone's wearing masks. No one's going to no one's getting together. Schools are closed and all of a sudden the flu just disappears. If you look at like in Asia where they have a lot of these kinds of diseases, they wear masks all the time.
You ever wonder?
And they know there's
a
reason.
It happened. Yeah. Exactly.
They've been through this a few times and they're like, well, we're just gonna wear masks now.
Right.
So yeah, it's just.
God, I'm such a dumb Westerner. I'm always like, why are they wearing masks years ago? And that's because they've been going through this shit, and they're like, SARS and the bird flu, and right, and okay, so tell me I'm not that fucking crazy if I'm thinking I should wear a mask through then, because I don't give a fuck what people think.
Yeah.
I also like the grocery store because I don't have to talk to people. Yeah. It's amazing. Like I can hide behind, put my hood on, and swoop through there, and I don't have to talk to. Hi, Eric, how you been? I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm going through a bipolar depression right now, and I need fucking chocolate milk, so leave me the fuck alone. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's mask time, but as long as I can grapple on to something like that, so I'm. You don't think that's too far fetched that you haven't?
I don't think it's too far. Like. Yeah, no, it's definitely the flu's disappeared from this.
What would you change? What would you keep?
Because of where I work, I'm over the mask thing. I wear a mask all the time, so
you don't even feel it on your face anymore.
No, I find myself pulling it down all the time.
Oh, you're done.
I'm just annoyed by it.
You're fucking done. Yeah.
But
okay.
I'm not saying this. I'm not an anti-masker.
Bullshit. I just heard you.
But I hate
you
masks.
Just are anti-masker. I heard that you're fucking, we're going to cut this. Randy, you think you can cut this into where people think that he's the, anti-masker and that we could steer this politically for it? Maybe?
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. Microbites. So, but what about in regards, I hate masks. When they first started out, I was like, there's no fucking way I'm wearing a mask. I actually said that because I just couldn't imagine wearing a mask. But then you got over it real quick, But besides masks, would you keep anything? Sanitizing.
The
bureaucracy. Would you keep Fauci? Would you keep Fauci? What's your gut thought on Fauci?
The visitor policy at the ER is nice right now.
Ooh, I like that. Okay, I like that.
It's makes our job much easier. I'd like just to, if people aren't dying, no one comes in.
Ooh, great. That'd be great.
But you can't do that.
No, you can't do that. Because I want my mommy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We all want our mommy.
But I think people being more like the hand sanitizing thing is huge. Like hand washing is way bigger than people think. Like we pick up a lot.
Get into that.
I can't remember the numbers are, but like that's the one thing they preach to us as healthcare workers. They come and watch us. Yeah. Like they do like little spot checks to see if you're washing your hands or sanitizing your hands on the way out of the rooms.
Really?
It's a
right.
Yeah. hand washing is the number one way to keep infectious disease from being spread.
You were saying something about the grocery store in regards to you sanitize when you go in and you feel
People sanitize a lot
You feel
more.
pretty good about it?
Yeah, I think that's great. I think they just keep those things at the doors.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Wipe the cart down.
Yeah.
All that good stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I want to ask you a question. If you could say, is there anything else that you want to bring up that you have on your mind that you want to, say in regards to what you've been through, a story, something that touched your heart, in that regards? I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm gonna keep talking so you can think.
Yeah. I don't know. That couple, they always kind of crossed my mind that didn't make it through.
The elderly couple.
The elderly couple. Because just the idea, well.
Do you dream?
I don't, the only thing I
About
really
people-
wear, like, the only thing I carry home with me are kids. And kids haven't been affected by this, which is probably one of the reasons it hasn't bothered me as much.
Right.
So, like, the only thing that really wears on my, like, if something happens with a kid, it's a bad outcome, that will, like, cause
That
my
gets you.
sleep. Yeah, that's just not fair.
Yeah. Do you think, have you dealt with PTSD before? As far as,
No, probably.
yeah, but you just kind of deal with it like a,
Yeah, I see a therapist.
good for you.
But,
I was hoping you'd say that.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
for sure. There's a fighter, I think he said that, like, your brain is another muscle. Why wouldn't you take care of it too?
Right.
Like, why wouldn't you take care of your mind?
Yeah.
So I see a therapist for a few things, one being work, and, but I think, I don't know. I think just a few of the people that I met that didn't kind of, the idea of sending someone home who I knew was going to, like, that was rough.
Do you think your need for therapy increased through COVID? I mean, obviously that's a dumb question, but how do you feel? I don't think there's dumb questions.
No, maybe. I think, yeah, because of the
You think you're over it? You're still in the middle of it. Still feeling it?
Well, it's right now, like, things are starting to pick up again just with the regular stuff. The last couple of weeks at work have been kind of wild. So, you're playing a game of human Jenga at all times. So it's like,
So all the stuff you put to the side, now you're kind of,
it's coming back.
It's coming
like,
back
Oh
around.
yeah, I remember these days. Like,
yeah.
there's people everywhere I look.
Right.
There's
Did you
patients.
push? Did you have to push the pragmatic treatment? The more treatment that was preventative. You had to push that down the road.
Yeah,
and now
you
that's
can't
coming.
really. Yeah. And I mean, I'm just my person, just the way I. So my therapist says I'm really good at putting things in boxes.
Okay,
Kinda
compartmentalizing.
like yeah.
Right.
Just kind of like, I'll deal with that later.
Yeah.
So at some point, I got to unpack that box and.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So right now, I got a stack of boxes to deal with probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
do you think you start to have you unpacked the COVID boxes and kind of I guess what I'm asking, have you realized how hard this has been on you yet? No. And that's going to take some time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, again, like, I feel so fortunate that we weren't New York or Kirkland or Texas.
See, that's
Houston,
that fighter
Texas.
in you, right?
Yeah. It's
You're
like,
looking at the positives.
This is not.
Yeah.
This is not unmanageable. What we did. It was not unmanageable.
But at the same time,
Could
it
have
still
been.
affected you.
Oh yeah. Seeing, like,
Yeah.
it's never good to have people dying around you. Like, it's just, that doesn't feel great to know someone's not going to make it. Like, yeah. You can kind of, like, when you see a person, you kind of know how things are going to go a lot of the time. Like how progressed, like how far the disease has progressed. Like, we're going to be able to chase this down. Like, it's so.
You're getting a feel for it.
Yeah, definitely. We've gotten a feel for it for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What about this? I had a friend pass 2 weeks ago, and look at the end of the podcast. We're going to give him a little shout out. But he just was gone one day after we thought he was getting better.
And that's the other part of this is we haven't figured out all the long-term issues that this is going to cause. There's a lot of clotting stuff, a lot of lung scarring. There's things we don't, like, we're still figuring out. So this is, we got through the first, the wave of it. Now what's it leaving behind? Like, what do we have to deal with? These people going to have COPD, like, what's going to happen to them in the long term? So, like,
I wonder what kind of care we're going to institute, for that. How we're going to wrangle that
Yeah.
as far as paying for that and taking care of people. And
Oh, people are going to pay for it.
oh, they're going to pay for it for sure.
Yeah. It's
For sure.
Yeah.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but man, do I want to ask you your views on so much of that,
Oh,
yeah. But I'm not going to do that to you. I'm not going to ruin the whole
It's a
interview.
different podcast. Like
Yeah.
I have no problem talking about that stuff. Like
You don't?
No.
Well, then I'm going to get into it.
All right.
All right. I'm going to get into it. So, I'm going to get into it.
All
I'm
right.
going to go. Okay.
All right.
You ready, brother?
Yeah.
All right. Give me your point of view from the way where you work, what you do for a living in regards to socialized medicine. What's your experience, versus the way we do it? What do you think?
The idea that we're capitalizing on people's suffering, like, is just,
Mm-hmm.
I don't, and then the expense of it, like,
Mm-hmm.
I think they say 90% of Medicare dollars are spent in the last 30 days of life or something like that. So
Right.
we're dragging people through the mud to empty their bank account. It's kind of what it feels like sometimes. Like it's just not, there's a few things I feel like that we shouldn't capitalize on. I'm a capitalist. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, me too. I call myself a capitalist that would kind of dig some regulations.
Yeah. And some social stuff. Like I feel like there's three things: healthcare, education, and prisons.
Right.
We shouldn't
Oh,
we
gosh,
shouldn't be
prisons.
making money on those things.
No, we
just
shouldn't.
No one should be making money because
Yeah.
if you make money on something, there's someone lobbying to change the rules so they can make more money. So it happens in the hospitals.
And people get forgot about when money gets,
It's statistics then. So just seeing how other countries, like I was watching Germany's numbers and how they dealt with it, and
They have an incredible middle class.
yeah,
Yeah.
for a reason. And the medical part of it, they immediately built a shit ton of ICU beds and rolled out a bunch of ventilators because no one cared. Like, this is just money. Like, we're gonna have to spend this money to save lives, and their numbers were so much better than ours because they're able to do that. The beds are a big deal. Like, people don't understand.
They're huge.
And feeling like you're not going to be bankrupted if you go to the hospital is another big deal,
Well, we work our whole lives. We save our whole lives so that we can give it all away in the end.
Yep. Yeah.
To these companies. And
Yeah.
I mean, I feel bad for the baby boomers and like my mom's generation who they really bought into that.
Yeah.
Work your butt off to the very end and the retirement, and then say you got to save. And before you know it, all it takes is one good life-threatening injury, and before you know it, you blow. I had a friend who was in Germany, and he needed an X-ray, and he was like, "How much is this X-ray going to be?" And the guy didn't even know what he was saying.
Yeah.
He's like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And then he told, the X-rays. The doctor was like, how much are they in America? He's like, $800, like that. And the guy almost fell over.
Yeah. No, there's a
For
video.
a picture?
Yeah, there's a video.
For a picture? I can't even do the German.
There's a video going around I've seen, and it's like they're asking people on the street in England, like, what do you think it costs to have a baby in America? And they're like, $200? Like, no, like $10,000. Like, what? How does someone? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I know we don't turn anybody down.
Yeah.
But it's
Well, some hospitals do.
right.
Yeah.
But the point is, now I'm getting it because I kind of always knew this, but we're not going to turn anybody down because it's like a car lot, right?
Yeah.
We're not going to turn anybody away because we got to get them in that bed so we can charge the insurance companies, so the insurance companies can have these huge premiums, and it's just this big circle.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep the beds full, maximize profit. And like when you're talking about prisons, don't even get me started on prison industrial
Same
complex.
thing.
When you're getting a Coke from McDonald's and the cup is made by a prisoner, that is just wrong.
Yep.
Wrong. So, can you elaborate? Can you elaborate on what? Is it really $50 for a Tylenol in the? Is it really that bad?
I believe it's $45.
Are you serious? I was
me to
saying that
hand
as a
you.
fucking joke, Randy.
I
I'm in the wrong business.
I-
I need to fucking come in there and be slanging to fools behind your
Yeah,
asses
yeah,
like
yeah.
30. After you walk out, be like, I'll hit you this for 35.
like, this is like, my understanding is like it's like $45 a Tylenol. Like, that's what I can't remember where I've seen that at. I feel like old people are funny because they'll actually look at their itemized bill.
Yeah, we don't do that
What
shit.
is this? Like,
Yeah.
why is it $100 for 2 Tylenols? Like that.
There's people like me that got I was crazy, man. I was jumping off shit, breaking everything, and surgery after surgery, just because I was living a fast life. By the time, I just tell the medical bills to get in line.
Yeah.
You know, there's just no,
It's that whole blood from a turnip.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you can get in line. I'm going to die long before I pay all these medical bills off. You know, but so I think. Yeah, and now all the people are out there like, you motherfucker, you keep my insurance rate so high. Well, no, you get whatever.
Yeah.
But old people and you know, certain curmudgeons, they look at that, don't they?
Oh yeah.
And you bring them the bill in?
No, like they'll come to the front door.
Oh,
and like, hey,
oh really?
I want to talk to somebody about this. And I'm like, well, I'm not the guy.
Oh, because they don't realize that it's done by a.
They don't realize how corporations are structured, and like this is not even in this building. It's probably somewhere in the Philippines you need to call.
Right.
Yeah.
And now you have a lady, you can be half dead. I remember I was half dead in there, and she was like, Eric, we need to talk about. She came in and did an interview with me. I was like on my deathbed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she had to make sure she knew where to send the bill.
Yep. Yeah. And now they're asking for your copay, which when they first
really?
started doing that, I was like, come on, I can't. It's not you don't have to pay it, but if you want to pay it, then you can.
Right.
So, it took a little bit for the nurses had to educate some of the people. Like, you're not doing that until we say it's okay to do that. You can't just come in. This patient's on a backboard. You know, they can't even see the paper right now. So, we'll let you know when they can talk.
Well, I remember she came in, and I'm laying there, and she goes, Mr. Brady, I need to talk to you about this, and I just went, fuck you. That's it. That's all I said.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember much of anything else.
Yeah.
So I must have made my point clear. And it wasn't against her.
Yeah.
She's got to do her job. Yeah. But we've all had to do fuck you jobs.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Very many.
So I don't get mad about telling, you know, that kind of shit. Well, you know, Peter, I had an absolute amazing time talking to you and having you on the podcast. Did you have a good time?
Oh, yeah.
All
Yeah,
right,
it was
good,
cool.
Good. So, I want to talk to you about, let's sum up your experience, everything you went through. And let's talk about if you could put a belief system or if you could get everybody to listen to you and heed one thing, all of a sudden everybody in the world just turned and went and listened to you because of your experience. I'm putting you on the spot. What would be the thing you'd say?
It's the golden rule, man. Like, just treat people how you want to be treated. So, like, if you're at the ER and it's taking a while for you to get back there, like, there's a reason. Like, this, I don't want people to sit in my lobby. We don't want people, like, our goal is an empty place. Like, that's my goal, is to hang out and drink some coffee, wait for someone to come in. So, like, just be kind to people. Be kind to people at the store. Wear your mask. Like, just be patient. We're all getting through this together. Like, we're a community, you know. Just, that's the, you know.
Because you're where the rubber hits the road.
Yeah.
You really are. And those effects, those things that people are doing out there that they want to leave in ambiguity or ignorance is bliss directly affects you and your life. Yeah. And so what you're saying is that golden rule of putting others first. Yeah. Because that's kind of the way you'd want to be treated if that was your mom, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, it's just, you know, be kind.
Yeah.
Like, you want people to be kind to you, right? Just be kind. That's it. It doesn't take a lot.
Right. Right. Well, you know, I must say that take this really respectfally. You're the dumbass that picked your profession and wanted to get into that shit.
I signed up for it.
So now that's why we didn't have a hippity hoppity fun podcast. Yeah. You know, we got down to the heart of it. So what I want to do is I want to extend, we have these beautiful parties during the summer that we're going to have a beautiful party during the summer. Come back when everything's normal. Maybe we're not wearing some masks. Maybe we can eat some barbecue.
I like barbecue.
And we can, you know, we can laugh and have not such a deep fucking discussion. Yeah. You know what I mean?
For sure.
But I appreciate, first of all, I want to thank all the nurses, all the doctors, all the people on the front line, anybody that I miss, of course, the admin people too, all the people that make it all work, that have protected us. I want to thank all those people, but I do want to give another shout out to Angel, to St. Peter's Hospital, who's been an incredible force in my community, and to you.
Thank you.
Because you're the rock star. I wouldn't even know. I'm not a caregiver. I'm naturally not that much of a caregiver. I care in a macro sense. Like I want to create things that fund things that help people. But to get your hands down in that literal, I'm not going to explain. I know what you, but to get your hands down in it, you are literally the salt of the earth. You're like a teacher. You're so far from a fucking lawyer.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You're in it, you know? And I just want to give you so much love for that. Okay,
Thank
brother?
You. Thank you
All
for
right.
the podcast too.
Okay, absolutely. Absolutely. Eric Scott Talks a Lot, brought to you by Random and Reckless Entertainment, Brainstar Media. Again, let's give a shout out to Peter and all our nurses. Woo, all right.
Thank you.
Thanks, brother. Thanks for coming.